I read the whole The Summer I Turned Pretty series and I have a lot to say. Before I begin saying all the things that I have been dying to say while I was like reading, this video is all spoilers. It's not gonna be about the plot but more about like my thoughts, and it will contain a lot of spoilers. Also, a disclaimer is that all the things that I'm gonna say are my opinions, which I am entitled to, as are other people, and I don't judge people by their book tastes. If this is their favorite series ever, I love that for them. It was just not my cup of tea. Yeah, but to each their own. And another thing is that I don't know anything about the author, about Jenny Han, so this is not targeted towards her. I don't know what kind of person she is. I'm just here to speak my thoughts about the series that I read. So this is just about the book. Okay, let's start with book 1, The Summer I Turned Pretty. I'm gonna be honest, at first I really liked it. I downloaded the sample that Kindle gives you before downloading the whole book, and the first portion of the book, the sample that they give you, I kind of enjoyed because I went with this like mentality of it's summer. And I read this whole series in August, all 3 books in like 2 weeks, basically in 14 days. And I went in with, this is summer right now and I want summer vibes and summer reads. And so I went in with good intention, with a good mood basically, and I did like it. I have some quotes that I really liked. Well, this one is pretty basic. I got this all over my TikTok. It's this one. For me, it was almost like winter didn't count. Summer was what mattered. My whole life was measured in summers. Like I don't really begin living until June.
For me, it was almost like winter didn't count. Summer was what mattered. My whole life was measured in summers. Like I don't really begin living until June.
This is literally me. Like, I love summer, I hate winter. Right off the bat, I was like, oh, we're twins. Not for long. These other quotes that I really liked, we're gonna start off with the good stuff. Sometimes it's like people are a million times more beautiful to you in your mind. And then this, which isn't a quote from this book, but it's a quote from somewhere else. Russia was a riddle wrapped in a mystery inside an enigma. I also liked moments when lost can be found again. Then it started to go weird. I don't know what happened. It was so good at first, but then it wasn't. And the first thing that stood out to me is how jarring it was like reading the book as a whole. I don't know how to really explain it, but there was like no natural flow to the sentences. They were just kind of like chopped up. Like most scenes and sentences, they felt like they were cut short and like chopped up, and it was like very weird. I didn't really notice it at first, but then I was like, wait a second. And because of this, there actually was no summer vibe. The first part of the book is her arriving to the beach house, but I was like hoping to get the vibe sometime, someplace throughout the whole 3 books. Actually, I've never gotten this like vibe. There were no descriptions that you would want in a summer setting, in a summer romance. The only settings and scenes and places were like beach house, ocean, boardwalk. I was reading and I was like highlighting either something that I liked or something that I was appalled. I'm going to read something that appalled me. So Belly, for some unknown reason, is dating Cam Cameron. He's like a douche. He's a total douche. I don't understand why. That's not the most questionable thing that Belly did in the books, and not the most messy thing. So yeah, these are the things that Cam Cameron is saying. This is so weird. I'm gonna read like 2 quotes, and they're gonna be filled with secondhand embarrassment. You burp like baby burps, he said. It's kind of gross, but also kind of cute. He's like 16, like who talks like that when they're 16? Instead of a ski slope nose, you have like a little bunny slope. So I feel like this is all that defines Kim Cameron, and we don't need more of him, but unfortunately there's more of him. Let's just get it over with. Yeah, in short, he's a douche. First of all, why was he calling her Flavia? The name Belly is already so weird, derived from Isabel. I'm sorry, how do you even come up with Belly derived from Isabel? Isabel is like such a beautiful name. If you want like a nickname, or I don't know, something like Belle, at least Belle What is Belly? How did they come up with Belly? But Flavia, come on, she came up with that in in 5th grade for like this Latin convention or wherever she was, and he just still like calls her that. And every time he like corrected someone or said something like smarty pants, like facts or something. I love smart people, so like I would also love for people to just tell me random facts that I don't know. But why was he doing it in this like weird like douchebag way, honestly? But then Belly was like, oh my gosh, he said that, like internally, and I'm like, girl, are you okay? Like that wasn't cute or hot or anything, so I don't really understand. And since we are talking about side characters, let's address the elephant in the room, Taylor. At first, I thought that she would be this like iconic character that you have in every like 2000s movie or like TV show about American high school. She knows everything about fashion, she knows everything about boys, and she has like this advice for everyone and everything for every situation. And she's actually a nice person, but she's just like this, you know, she's straightforward. This, I feel like, is what the author was going for, but she was just straight up mean, literally just like a mean girl, up until the 3rd book. And I didn't understand why Belly was friends with her. I mean, Belly is also super toxic, we're gonna talk about that later, but I don't understand why, like Taylor, I don't know. She has her moments, but that's all in book 3, basically. In the first one, she's just like weird. I've had 2 friends like that. Like if you combine them together, you're gonna make Taylor. And those 2 friends were like super toxic. And if you combine their toxic traits, that's gonna be Taylor. So that was fun to read. She's like very nonsensical, honestly, and there was this scene where they were playing Truth or Dare. Somebody was not following the rules or something. This is what she has to say. Don't be so gay, she said. Jeremiah said, you shouldn't use the word gay like that. I didn't mean anything by it, Jeremy. I just meant he's being lame. Well, gay doesn't mean lame, Taylor, now does it? Jeremiah said. You can pretty much sum up her book 1 and honestly book 2 self with this quote. What did Taylor know about exercise? She thought walking around the mall in high heels was exercise. Like this is the kind of, you know, person she is, but also like mean, like I don't know, she just calls people names and she's like, oh, that girl has cankles, or like I don't know. It was just like, she was supposed to be iconic, I feel like. But while we are on the subject of characters, which, well, there's gonna be a lot of characters to cover, the only characters that I really enjoyed were Susanna and Laurel, the 2 mothers. I enjoyed their friendship, but everything was honestly so poorly established that I didn't get to enjoy their friendship because it wasn't like written in a profound way. Like the whole series was more of like a tell and not show kind of situation, so we didn't get to see their friendship from the past, for example. I really wish that we had like more background for them, because they were like one of, if not the only good relationship and characters in the whole book series. The rest of the characters, I don't know what's wrong with them. They were so toxic. I know I'm gonna be saying toxic a lot, but I don't know a better word to describe what was happening with the characters. Jeremiah in book 1 is actually okay. Like he's just okay. Like I don't know, he's just there. I do want to point out that Conrad and Jeremiah both in book 1 were like players, like F-boys, and they would just have like one girlfriend after another, or like be speaking with one girl after another. But Jeremiah wasn't oozing with this toxicity and these like bad vibes that Conrad brought to the table, to the series. I feel like Conrad was written to be the cool guy, but he's just like plain mean. Belly? Oh my gosh. Belly is a different story altogether. I feel like maybe Conrad and her are made for each other because of how both of them are just super toxic. Whereas Conrad was this like grown-up adult type of toxic, Belly was like kindergarten level of toxic. Like she's literally a child. She was like 15 in the first book, turning 16. She was behaving like a literal 5-year-old. I have never seen a 15 or 16-year-old behave like that ever. And I was 15 and 16 and I did not behave like that. None of like my classmates, my friends, nobody behaved like that. when they were 15, 16. Because when somebody would either like crack a joke at her expense or insult her, it didn't matter for her. She would just say, shut up. Like, that's the only comeback. Or she would stick her tongue out at them. And I read so many reviews where literally people were saying that she's insufferable. For example, this one on Goodreads, I'd like to drop kick the main character. Like, that's literally me. This other one from Fable, Belly was low-key insufferable. There was no chemistry between Conrad and Belly. And I know it's not black and white where like one person just has bad qualities or good qualities. It is a mix of both, but it got to the point that her bad qualities overpowered her good qualities, and there was just like no likable traits left for us to enjoy and to sympathize with her character. Literally all her problems, she creates them in her head. And the characters were actually calling her out on this, which I really enjoyed. Belly, just freaking calm down. You're too old for your temper tantrums, Steven said. Get your head out of your ass, Belly. The world doesn't revolve around you. You're the one who's been playing games, Belly. Also, while we're talking about Belly, there was a scene that I actually did not understand at all. She was like fighting with Conrad, as she was doing throughout the whole book 1 for some reason, and then he said, why don't you go look at yourself in the mirror some more? It was like he had slapped me. It was mortifying being caught out and having someone see the bad things about you. I don't know if I'm just like too old for this. I don't think so. I'm 18. I'm not that far off from 16. How was that an insult? Having someone see the bad things about you. That she was like looking in a mirror. Everybody looks in mirrors. What does that mean? What does that mean? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. No, I don't know. I don't understand. They have the emotional intelligence of like a fish. While we are speaking about Belly and her relationship with the two guys, because it is a love triangle, I'm gonna be honest, I started reading this series because everybody was talking about how they're like Team Conrad and they hate Jeremiah, and I wanted to see for myself. And upon finishing the series, I'm actually pretty sure that they were all speaking from the show and not from the books, because the show is like literally trending right now and I haven't seen the show, so this is just books. And I thought that like I first will read the books and then I will watch the show and I will see for myself. But from the little excerpts, from the scenes that I see, from the videos from TikTok that I see of this show, I feel like this like completely different personalities for everyone, and like Conrad is way more likable in the show from the clips that I've seen. And I wasn't old enough when it was the era of Twilight and was like Team Edward or Team Jacob, and I honestly kind of wanted to be like a part of this like team because I wasn't part of that in Twilight, and everybody was saying like this is our generation's Twilight. So everybody loves Conrad but everybody hates Jeremiah, but I feel like they are going off from the TV show. But going off of the books, in book 1 I was Team Nobody because the characters honestly felt 2D to me. Their personalities weren't established enough for me to like say who I liked more, but I did prefer Jeremiah because at least he wasn't toxic. And so I feel like Jeremiah's declaration of love towards Belly deserves a read out loud. You've always been my best friend, but now it's more. I see you as more than that. You're cooler than any other girl I've ever met, and you're there for me. You've always been there for me. I can count on you, and you can count on me too. You know that. Like, that's nice. That was really nice. The only thing is that he was like literally dating other girls, were like being in love with Belly, but so has Conrad. So like it's 1-1 in that department, but at least he wasn't toxic. Like when Belly told Conrad how she feels and he was just like weird. This is the character for Jeremiah that has been established since book 1, of him being the good guy and Conrad being the toxic one. Remember that. I think that's pretty much all that was on my mind for book 1. But first of all, I feel like Steven and both of the family's dads felt super 2D in the book, and honestly throughout the whole series as well. They're just like side characters, but they're not, they feel 2D, they feel, you know, cardboard cutouts. Before we move on to book 2, I have to share this genius dialogue at the end of book 1. Come in, he said. Can I come in? He sat up. Yeah, okay. Belly knocked on his door. He said, come in. She opened the door and she was like, can I come in? And he was like, yeah, okay. Okay, book 2, It's Not Summer Without You. We will start with, once again, amazing dialogue. This is a dialogue between Susanna and Belly, because Susanna was dying. You'll look after him, won't you? Who? I could feel her cheeks form into a smile. You know who? Yes, I whispered, still holding on tight. Good, she said, sighing. He needs you. I didn't ask who he was. I didn't need to. Didn't you just ask? She's raspy today. You'll look after him, won't you? Susanna asks. Who? Belly asks. Susanna says, you know who. And then Belly's internal dialogue is like, I didn't need to ask who he was. I knew. What's the point? What's the point of anything? I don't understand. I don't understand anything. Anyways, this book, the second one, actually has a plot. Yay! Which is like saving the beach house. And it was pretty predictable that they would save the beach house at the end. But at least it had something. And like the first book, literally nothing happened in the first book. Honestly, even like the titles of the books don't make sense to me. The first one was like The Summer I Turned Pretty. It was like, yeah, like guys are interested in Belly. But we didn't get to see what it was before she turned pretty, so it just didn't really like make sense. And the theme of this book, which it had a theme at least, grief, because they lost Susanna, and again, Susanna was like one of the two characters that I actually enjoyed. Honestly, I sympathized with Laurel because she literally lost her best friend, but I guess Belly had other thoughts. This is what she says when she sees her mother upset over her best friend. Seeing her like that, like an actual person and not just my mother, it almost made me not trust her. Belly's 16. Why? If anything, I wouldn't trust Laurel if she wouldn't be upset that her best friend died. What does this mean?
What type of language is that?
Also, she was fighting with her mom. Literally, the thing that she said, if I said that, I would have been disowned. It's one thing if the mother would be toxic, but Laurel is literally one of the two characters that makes sense. Belly and her mom fighting. Her words stung me so badly, I wanted to hurt her back 1,000,000 times worse, which is always really healthy. So I said the thing I knew would hurt her most. I said, I wish Susanna was my mother and not you. I'm sorry. And the fact that the mother was like normal about it, she didn't disown Belly, but Belly did get a little bit better in book 2. She didn't stick her tongue out so much and she didn't say shut up so much, but oh my gosh, Conrad, I don't know if he necessarily got worse. Of course he was like grieving, but the way that he treated Belly when they were dating in the book, and he was just like the worst boyfriend ever. But then, spoiler alert, in the third book, he was like, I loved Belly with all of my heart. He was just saying that he was like grieving his mother and processing the loss, and that's why he was just this terrible boyfriend. I don't know if that's really that much of an excuse, you know, because it's like, you know, just break up and then spend some time apart, and then if you still love her, I don't know, like there are ways, you know?
So I have also seen TikToks and scenes from the actual TV show, and it looks like Conrad is also really bad in it. He's just a horrible boyfriend to her and a horrible person in the TV show as well, but I guess maybe less so, I don't know. But anyways, I found people that think alike in terms of his attitude and his actions towards Belly when he was grieving. I feel like these comments make a lot more sense than what I could have ever possibly said. Please stop using his mother being sick as an excuse for the way he acted. He was so quick to tell everyone to grow up when he was the most immature one. He played with her feelings constantly, and whenever she tried to move on and be happy, he would come and ruin it for her. He knows she's in love with him, and he likes the idea that she will always choose him no matter what he does, because she always has. He's one of those dudes that knowingly knows he doesn't deserve her, but can't see her be happy with anyone else either. I'm gonna talk more about him later and how characters in the actual books in the series call him out on this. And then this one. Mind you, grief doesn't give you a free pass to ruin prom, relationships, and summers for everyone else. If you're grieving, you should take the time to be alone with your feelings, not hurting someone else's. It's common sense. If you're in a bad mood, don't ruin the mood for everybody else, you know? Because obviously people that are closest to you are supposed to like support you and blah blah blah, but to make their days and lives worse, that's just a crappy thing to do. Back to my review of the book.
So this is an episode when Belly wanted him to come to her prom. It's my prom. He sighed. Belly, I hate dances. I know that, but it's my prom and I really want to go and I want you to come with me. Why did he have to make everything so hard? I'm in college now, he reminded me. I didn't even want to go to my own prom. Lightly, I said, well, see, that's all the more reason for you to come to mine. Can't you just go with your friends? I was silent. I'm sorry, I just don't really feel like going. Finals are coming up and it'll be hard for me to drive all the way down for one night. See, this is what he was supposed to lead with. You know, finals, exams, and the drive, and not be like, go with your friends. So this is Belly's inner monologue. So he couldn't do this one thing for me to make me happy. He didn't feel like it. That's okay, I told him. There's plenty of other guys I can go with. No problem. Very healthy relationship right here, guys. I could hear his mind working on the other end. Never mind, I'll take you, he said at last. This is so unhealthy. You know what? Don't even worry about it, I said. Corey Wheeler already asked me. I can tell him I changed my mind. Who the hell is Corky Wheeler? I smiled. I had him now. Or at least I thought I did. I said, Corey Wheeler. He plays soccer with Steven. He's a good dancer. He's taller than you. Great. But then Conrad said, I guess you'll be able to wear heels then. I guess I will. Yeah, so well, none of that was healthy. Like, I don't know, everybody's trying to hurt each other. And then he called back and left a message and he was like, hey, I'm sorry about before. Don't go with Corey Wheeler or any other guy. I'll come. You can still wear your heels. That's so weird, like, I don't know, it's just, everything is weird. And the thing about Conrad is just, he was a crappy person all the time. Like, it didn't have anything to do with him processing grief. Listen to these, I have evidence. He wasn't somber or solemn or sad or any of the other S words I had come to associate with Conrad. Like always, it was Conrad who dictated the mood of the house, how everyone else felt. That's a great person. We have to talk about something positive in book 2, and who I did like in this book was Jeremiah. He was established since book 1 to book 2. Remember that. He was established as this like great guy, like golden retriever, like somebody who makes everyone laugh, who honestly doesn't deserve Belly and her temper tantrums, but someone who for some unknown reason loved her deeply. And I loved his inner monologue. This was about how Conrad took Belly to prom. He had gotten to take Belly to her prom and he acted like it was some big chore. If it had been me, I would have done it right. It really pissed me off. He was full of crap. He liked her. He more than liked her, but he couldn't admit it. Wouldn't man up. Conrad would never be that guy, the kind of guy Belly needed. Someone who would be there for her. Someone she could count on. I could. If she'd let me, I could be that guy. That's really sweet. And then I like the scene where they got stuck in the car in the rain and they couldn't drive anywhere. We sat in the gas station parking lot for what felt like forever. The rain was loud, but we were so quiet that when my stomach growled, I was pretty sure they both heard. I coughed to cover up the noise. Jeremiah jumped out of the car and ran inside the gas station. When he ran back, he tossed me a packet of peanut butter and cheese crackers without looking at me. Like, he just heard her stomach rumbling and he brought her food, like snacks, and she didn't even ask for that. He just like heard. But Belly was so messy. Earlier she said, I'm so tired of Belly, but Conrad wasn't just my first love. He wasn't some rite of passage. He was so much more than that. He and Jeremiah and Susanna were my family. But then she also had feelings towards Jeremiah. Exhibit A and B. This is talking about Jeremiah, by the way. I hated the idea of him with some crazy girl, some girl who he liked enough to go back to over and over. Me and him for real, it was what I'd wanted my whole life. But then there was Jeremiah's face in the car, open and wanting and needing me. In that moment, I'd wanted and needed him too, more than I had ever known. You want both? Also, there were so many like incest vibes. It's crazy because you would hear Susanna say something like, Belly's my unborn daughter, like something about Belly being her like daughter, and then she'd say things like, Belly should end up with one of my boys. Okay, pick one. You know, there's like better ways to say that this person is like very near and dear to you. And them, like the two, Conrad, Jeremiah, and Belly, calling each other like brother, sister, and then kissing each other. Like they're like, oh, she like my little sister, or like something, and then they would like kiss. I did not enjoy that aspect. Anyways, on to book 3. We'll always have summer. I know that I have established that I am not enjoying the series as a whole, but this book got me going through something. Legitimately, it feels like the author completely forgot how the characters were and behaved in book 1 and book 2 and decided to just like do a quick fun little 180 in book 3 for all of their personalities. The third book just felt like it was part of a different world and different series altogether because of how like Jeremiah went from the established golden retriever good guy, makes everyone laugh, to this like basically jerk, and then Conrad went from being the toxic guy to being the good guy. Oh, that's great. Crappy person to being this like sweet romantic guy. I got up to chapter 4 when Belly found out that Jeremiah like cheated on her, and I was like, is this the same series? Because when I read the whole situation of theirs, I actually threw my Kindle onto my bed like this, and I had to sit in silence and stare at a wall. I was just getting so pissed. And the other thing is that the author, out of nowhere, decided to pull this like Ross and Rachel thing.
We were on a break! Oh my god, if you say that one more time, I'm gonna break up with you.
Why do we need this? This is like the most inconsistent series that I've read in my entire life. And to add more inconsistency, that's really great, that's awesome. The thing about this like Ross and Rachel thing, they were on a break, so technically he didn't cheat, but he didn't tell Belly once they got back together he was with another girl during their break. If he didn't feel like it was wrong, he would tell her. That's the thing. And it was actually very, very maddening because Jeremiah, again, was established as this sentimental, emotional, sunshine person. It was described in book 1. He still like held his mother's hand even though he was too old, and who was Belly's literally best friend, like bestest friend. Did the author just forget that? Because it feels like he cheated just because he had to, just because Belly had to end up with Conrad somehow. Like there was no other way for her to break up with Jeremiah apparently. Because even like Belly says it, this wasn't the Jeremiah that I knew. My Jeremiah would never hurt me like this. He would never so much as look at another girl. My Jeremiah was true and strong and steady. I didn't know who this person was. Exactly. But Belly, she was no saint in their relationship. She was just a horrible girlfriend to him. Examples given. So she was like invited to a party and she told Jeremiah about it, and he said he had an intramural soccer game, but I should go anyway. I said, can't you just miss it? It's not like it's a real game. Okay, so when you are dating someone and you're dating them because you love them, you don't necessarily have to take interest in their hobbies, but you don't say like, oh, well, that's not a real thing. Like, your hobbies don't matter. That's not how you go about. If Jeremiah would have said that to Belly, there would be no end of it. Like, she would break up with him or something. I don't know. With her impulsive decisions. There were other things too that annoyed me about Jeremiah. Brace yourselves. His seasonal allergies. Okay, I'd never seen him in the springtime, so I didn't know he had them. He called me sneezing like crazy, all stuffed up and pitiful. Can you come over and hang out with me? He asked, blowing his nose. And can you bring more Kleenex and orange juice? I bit my lip to keep from saying, you have allergies, not swine flu. Generally, what's her problem? Like, what's her problem? Like, allergies are not fun. I understand they're not swine flu, but they're not fun. And it's not like he asked you to do this, like, impossible thing. He literally just asked to hang out with his girlfriend and to bring him, like, Kleenex and orange juice. What's the problem? What's your problem? I'm getting upset because this is, like, very nonsensical. And then the proposal, I was so done. Listen to this. After she found out that he cheated, you know, how would I know that you wouldn't do it again? How would I be able to trust that? You could marry me, is what he says. You could marry me. Oh my gosh. And then while she said yes to getting married, she was obviously still in love with Conrad, because this inner monologue happened when they were getting together as the two families. This is about Conrad. I really did believe he was coming. If I didn't, would I have taken extra care with my hair that morning? In the shower, would I have shaved my legs not once but twice, just to be safe? Would I have put on that new dress and worn those heels that made my feet hurt if I truly didn't believe he was coming? No. You're engaged to Jeremiah. What are you doing? Girl. And then, okay, Conrad's inner monologue, it's very, very sweet. Like, don't get me wrong with that, I loved it, but it's not his character. There was like a 180 that happened, and then this is what happens. Conrad's point of view. I wanted to kick his ass. This is between me and Belly. Smug piece of crap. He was marrying my girl, and I couldn't do anything about it. So now see, this is just a completely different person. If it would have been this person from the start, I would have been rooting for Conrad. And then if she knew how much I still cared, it was all over. Then why didn't you show it while you were boyfriend and girlfriend with Belly? All of the characters see that he's a toxic person, but the others somehow forgot. Exhibit A and B. Belly saying this about Jeremiah to Conrad. He doesn't take it away whenever he feels like it. Nobody has ever treated me the way he does. Nobody, least of all you. Taylor says to Conrad, you treat her like a toy that you just pick up and play with whenever you feel like it. I do, however, like the moment when Conrad tells Belly that Jeremiah cheated on her. Belly's like, I already knew about it. His head jerks back. You knew? Yeah. And you're still marrying him? Yeah, my question exactly. Everything is just upside down in this book, in the third one. It was obvious, however, from the very start that she wouldn't marry Jeremiah and would end up with Conrad, so that's awesome. Yeah, to me, book 2 kind of felt like it was teaching us that you don't have to go back to your toxic ex, your toxic crush, whatever, and you can break the cycle. You know, when she got together with Jeremiah at the end of book 2 and not Conrad, and that would be a good moral for the whole series. But then book 3 just threw it all away. All the morals, everything was thrown away. And it was like, but it's true love, guys, it's true love. Yeah, that's the thing, that the two main guys, they changed drastically due to inconsistency of the characters. And so she ended up with the mature and good guy Conrad instead of, you know, the toxic crappy one. But the changes, again, so inconsistent to their previously established characters. Book 3 just didn't feel canon, honestly. Overall, this series is a 2-star series for me. I've never rated books 2 stars. This was a crazy read. I did not enjoy it at all. I could see how this would be entertaining as a TV show, so I will still be watching the TV show, and I do think that people, when they pick teams, they go off based off the show and not of the book, especially now because the show is like super popular and I don't think the books are that popular. Even with the TV show though, I've heard people calling it rage bait, so like questionable. Overall, which team am I on at the end of the day? I'm team therapist. I think everybody in the book should get a therapist and then start dating, but not within the two families. Find someone new. I think that's all for now. Cut.